a situation is never as bad as our complaining and our whining is. Now, today I'm in the mountains, and it's been pretty rainy out today. And there's been a little break, so I just came for a walk and found this little free park, zoo, and just enjoying the animals and the solitude on this rainy day in the mountains. Now, I wanted to go for a big hike today, but weather did not permit. There's thunderstorms and lots of rain, so I decided just to take it easy and take a rest day today. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing bad about that. But the complaining and the whining we can sometimes do will make the situation seem far worse than it is. Marcus Aurelius reminds himself in Meditations how much worse the things anger brings about than the things that caused the anger in the first place. And I think this is true for so many, for all situations, really, that seem either hard to bear or unfortunate. It's not the situation itself. It's our complaining that is making it so annoying. How much worse our complaining and our annoyance is than the thing that caused it. Seneca also says this. And I think it could just be so valuable to remember that so often. And always this is the case, that it isn't really the situation itself that is causing us this dread, but our judgment, our impression of the situation. Epictetus says how it isn't things that, or it doesn't matter what happens to us, but it's how we react that matters. And this is also so very true. And I think just goes hand in hand with the point I'm trying to make right now, which is simply we make the situations far worse by how we act than the situation ever was in the first place. I could sit here and think this day is a waste and be whining and complaining about the things outside of my control, the weather, what I'm doing. Or I could take advantage of it and go for a calm walk in the valley, stumble upon a zoo that I had no idea was here, and spend a great deal of time and leisure and contemplation and reading and writing and making a memorable day and a great day out of it. And solely due to how the situation was handled. For the complaining could have ruined this day, but I did not allow it to. I did not allow the things outside my control to affect the things within my control. And I think we just have to keep coming back to this constantly, because in life there will be countless things that the crowd calls unfortunate, and the only unfortunate thing is to bear it in such a way where we believe ourselves to be wretched. Marcus Aurelius also talks about how he says it is unfortunate that this has happened to me. And then he catches himself and he says, no, it is fortunate it has happened to me, and I am unharmed by it. Because not everybody could have dealt with this situation in such a way. So many others would have been harmed. So many others would have let them affect them. But true good fortune, he says, is what you make for yourself. Good character, good actions. And I think this is the essence of Stoicism, philosophy, and how we need to go about living our lives. Because there will be countless things outside of our control tearing at our tranquility, our peace of mind, our happiness, but they only do so in our capacity to let them. These things only happen when we complain, when we whine, when we wish things to be wish things to be different than they are. Now, as I was reading Seneca this morning on this rainy, gloomy day, I read a line which I really enjoyed, and it was basically, when things happen, remind yourself that, or when things you didn't want happen, tell yourself that God had a better idea, or God made a better decision. And I think this can be so helpful to remind ourselves, even if you don't believe in God. The universe or whatever, or nothing, had a better decision. I think this can help us bear what happens, and it can remind us, even if you don't believe in anything, I think we all agree that we so often get what we need, not what we want. And I think that's all Seneca's trying to say. You can sit here and complain about what's happening to you and ruin the situation and not be able to derive the lessons that the situation is trying to tell you or trying to teach you. Or you can accept it and say, I can't see why this is happening for a good reason. I can't see how this will help me in the future. But I do remember times where I thought the same. And now looking back, I can truly see how it was the best thing that could have happened to me. That it was very beneficial that it happened. And it wasn't what I wanted, but it was what I needed. And we can remind ourselves this in each and every scenario that happens that isn't what we want. And we can 100% know for certain that we will not know how this ages. So it is foolish to act as if this cannot possibly one day be looked upon as a great good fortune that has befallen me. There's no use whining and complaining about present circumstances, especially when the whining and the complaining is the worst part of the present circumstance. Patience is a virtue, and as I said, as Epictetus says, it isn't what happens to us that matters, but how we react. This situation is not so bad, but what you're making it out to be is. You are ruining your tranquility, your happiness, your peace by how you are reacting. Now, I think I've beaten the dead horse on this one. So I'll leave you with that.